Our next guest says all the time that this is the favorite time of year for him for sports. Well, who is this guy? His name is Zach Burek. And Zach is the general manager of the Lakeland Flying Tigers and oversees all of the spring training here in Central Florida's Polk County. We've worked together for a long, long time, and the partnership between the Tigers and the city of Lakeland, Polk County, is the longest running relationship between a Major League Baseball team and a spring training destination, and not by a little, by a lot. And there's good reason for it, because we have good people like Zach Burek running the show. How you doing, Zach?
Appreciate you, Mark. Yeah, it's spring has sprung. We're a few days away from pitchers and catchers reporting, and as you mentioned, going on 89 years of that partnership and relationship. So I think you've been part of that since the very beginning. So thank you.
Okay. Here we go. So now I got to tell a funny story about Zach.
Oh,
okay,
boy.
I got set up on this. His wife still doesn't talk to me and has a voodoo doll with
very
pins
smart.
sticking in it, because the guys set me up on the radio show one day and they said, "Oh, did you know that Zach's wife Carla is pregnant?" I go, "No." Well, I have to congratulate her. So we were at the Tiger Barbecue one year, just a week or two after that, and I go up to her and I go, "Hey, congratulations, Carla, on being pregnant. You really look great." "I'm not pregnant." She got one of those voodoo dolls, started sticking pins in it. That's a true story, and I have never, ever forgotten it. Always a chilly welcome when I see Carla.
Yeah. And we'll be ready for the 78th Tiger Barbecue coming up on February 20th, which is, it's amazing, right? You get through the fall, and it just seemed like the playoffs ended and the Tigers were on their playoff run and made it to the postseason, and now pitchers and catchers. And we actually have players on Complex right now. So even though the official date is on the 12th, we have players now getting ready and utilizing the first-class facilities that we have at Tiger Town and Publix Field.
So a little bit more about the barbecue. So, having been involved with it now for a few years, last year, probably one of my favorite memories where we had these two gals who were there talking about a player, and the player tapped him on the shoulder, and they turned around and he said, how about a photo century?
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people realize, the players, most of them are right there to interact with folks.
They are, and this is where, Mark talks about the relationship of, the city and Visit Central Florida and the chamber and all the business community, but other teams and cities are envious of this event because nobody else puts this on. Mm-hmm. So to have anywhere from 800 to 1,000 people come out, and it's really just a welcome back to Lakeland Barbecue. Mm-hmm. Our players, our front office staff, executives are all there and represented, and it's just a way to see them in an off-field situation, get to know them a little bit. Very personable guys, and kind of kickstarts the start of spring training for us.
Well, Zach, this is a story I know you like to tell. We like to tell it too, but I think it was 2 years ago, Miggy was retiring that year, and he was there and interacting with people, but he stayed right to the end.
He literally was the first player there and the last one to leave, and took as many photographs and was even asking people, "You want a photo?" Like, that's how, and he's always been that way, right? I think that's what makes Miggy, and a sure first ballot Hall of Famer in a couple years when it gets to be that time, and just the face of the franchise for many years. And the only piece that was really missing is we were so close to a World Series championship while he was there, but great guy, and we miss him, but he still is involved with the organization. I'm sure he'll be back during spring training to kind of be that leader, mentor for some of our younger players.
And so many former players stay around in the area. I mean, whether it's just, Chet Lemon up there in Lake County and stay around, they come back as well.
Yeah, not only the local guys, but then also like just the philosophy of ownership and our leadership in Detroit of keeping our former players engaged with our current players and with the organization, right? So having that Alan Trammell, Hall of Famer Alan Trammell, and Jack Morris and Kirk Gibson, right? Like faces of the 1984 World Series team, our last World Championship. Like, especially with our team, right? The postseason run that we went on was amazing in a couple of different ways, because we had the best record in baseball from August 10th on, but we did that with the youngest roster in the postseason and one of all of baseball, right? So in the playoffs, when we're starting 6 rookies in a playoff game, you need that, you know, the right direction and leadership and motivation, mentorship, and we've got guys not only active on the field, but then, you know, those types of players, Hall of Fame players, to be able to provide some guidance not only during spring training but throughout the year from.
And a lot more talent, you know, behind those guys. I mean, that's the amazing thing, is you've got, you know, guys like, you know, Torkelson, who maybe has not quite hit his potential yet, and yet, you know, other guys right behind him pushing them, you know, to get better.
Yeah, I think out of the 26-man roster last year at the end of the season, 16 to 17 came through Lakeland as a Lakeland Flying Tiger player, right? And being ranked as one of the top farm systems in all of baseball as well. So there's more players coming. Jackson Jobe, who is probably one of the best ranked prospects, pitched for the Lakeland Flying Tigers, is knocking on the door. He pitched in the postseason last year, so the future is very, very bright. But it's, as with anyone, right? You head into, whether it's spring training or NFL training camp, everyone's better, right? Yeah. Everyone's healthy. You know, optimism is high for everyone. So now it's kind of, you know, living up to those expectations that the team last year set.
Yeah, when you're talking about pitch, you know, guys coming through the system. You know, Justin Verlander. You know, nobody cared about Justin Verlander. Everybody wanted to see Kate Upton. You know? and Justin was a really, you know, he was an approachable guy. You know, we were talking about something. We were doing a project with Kate and her sister, mainly her sister. Yep. And he goes, give me a second. We were up in Detroit. Let me call her. Got her on the phone. We were talking about this project with animals. I think it was SPA or something like that.
SPCA, yes.
And real involved in all of that, just down to earth, you know, just like we're sitting here talking now, you know, just no different.
Yeah, and having Justin, you know, towards the end of his time with us, still being kind of that mentor for our existing pitchers and then some of our minor league guys. I mean, you take a look at Tarek Skubal, who came through the farm, someone we drafted, came through our farm to system, played for the Lakeland Flying Tigers, and won the Cy Young Award last year in the American League. That's why I think the future is really bright, because we have a lot of those players that have come through the organization that we sign and draft and develop them right here. And a lot of that development is right here in Lakeland. The investment in the facilities, and again, thanks to, you know, Visit Central Florida and Polk County and the city, right? Like being able to provide a facility like Tiger Town and Publix Field, and the amenities, not only that fans see when they come into the ballpark, hospitality spaces, new scoreboard, and, you know, the wraparound 360, all of that, but also, you know, it comes down to practice fields and weight rooms and training rooms and therapy rooms and all the things that we didn't have up to about 6 or 7 years ago that we have now, which makes our facility year-round viable. So guys are coming in and using the facility in September, October, November, December, getting better because we've got world-class facilities right here in Lakeland.
So for the fan coming out for spring training with their autograph book, and who are the ones to look for? Who are the little hidden secrets that you would say that's a kid you're gonna keep an eye on?
Yeah, so I
mean, Skubal was one of those. I mean, we had talked about him plenty, and so to see him mature. So who's the next one?
Yeah, I would say for us, right, like Jackson Jobe is probably the next one in line. Max Clark, who is probably a couple years away, but he'll probably be over on the big league side for a little bit. You know, he's ranked as one of the top 3 prospects in baseball. He's a Lakeland Flying Tiger.
My son-in-law has followed him endlessly up until this point. So
he's got his own brand. He's got his own team. He's on social media. So I had many people reach out last year when he was with us, and, you know, hey, I got to come to the ballpark tonight. My son wants to go watch Max Clark play, right, which was awesome. So, yeah, and then, I mean, really for us, like, we still have, even without the rookies, like, Riley Green is very young and approachable and was a Silver Slugger Award winner last year. So
the what?
Silver Slugger, so he was kind of like one of the outfield Silver Sluggers, best hitter.
Silver Slugger.
Silver,
I thought you said sober Slugger.
No, Silver Slugger, so he's right up there, right? So, and, you know, Kerry Carpenter became kind of a playoff, you know, hero last year. So I think you can't go wrong with all of our guys. And I think the good thing is, like, these guys get it, right? Like they played ball, they played high school, they played little league. So kids and families and taking pictures and signing things is right in their wheelhouse.
I'm going to jump right on that right away, because the experience, if you ever want a good family experience, watching Major League Baseball, and this is not biased, this is not blowing smoke, this is not patting the Tigers on the back or any of that, sort of is on the back. There's no better place than Joker Marchant Stadium, Publix Field at Joker Marchant Stadium, for watching spring training. I would rather watch Major League Baseball there. I hope Mr. Illich isn't watching, but the owner of the Tigers, than in Comerica Park. I just love it at that facility. It's so family friendly. It's so safe, easy ingress and egress. Zach is in charge of that, and just a marvelous job. You really pick things up. I'm looking forward to the first game.
Well, thank you.
And that is the 20th, right?
22nd, so Saturday the 22nd, open up against the Phillies. Tickets are available, so tigers.com, and it's right on the homepage, or tigers.com/spring training. We're very active on Tigers social media as well as Lakeland Flying Tigers social media. And yeah, the point to the ballpark, Mark, right? Like 8,300 seats. Great seats everywhere, right? We have more shade than any ballpark in the state of Florida, right? So even when you might have a warm day in February or March, there's lots of shade, there's air-conditioned space, and just areas for people and families and kids. Go out on the berm, bring your blanket or towel and sit out there, walk around, overlook the pitchers warming up in the bullpens. Just very, very very fan-friendly amenities out there at Publix Field.
Thank you so much, Zach.
Appreciate you having me on. Yeah.
Oh, man, he just kind of energizes me for spring training and getting out to see that first game on the 26th.